everyone on this beautiful, beautiful Sunday morning. A little windy, so we'll just hang in there. There's a clipboard on the table behind you. If you want to sign in, it just helps us keep track of attendance, but if you don't make your way there to sign in, that's okay too. We're just excited that you're here this morning to worship with us. Want to especially welcome those who might be worshiping with us online this morning and those who might be with us for the first time. Do want to just lift up Happy Mother's Day to all of the women in our midst. We all mother in different ways and in different phases and stages in life. So Lisa Cavalucci, who runs our children's department, she has put up a picture background. If you go to the front of the church, to the main doors, and right beside the elevator, there's a beautiful picture backdrop. And if you want to take a picture for Mother's Day this morning, I hope that you'll make your way up there and do that. We are collecting for the food buckets that will go to Liberia, to the school that we support through the Holston Annual Conference, and would love to have your contributions to that. You can find the contents for the buckets in the Go section of the bulletin. And again, these help to provide food and nourishment for the children of a school in Liberia, and we provide their food for basically the whole year, so it's a really important ministry. Then I wanted to let you know about what's going on in our sanctuary right now. One of the most stunning features of our sanctuary, of course, is the stained glass window collection. And none of us realized how much maintenance those require. It turns out it's been 37 years since these windows were last repaired or had any major maintenance done on them. And during that time, heat and cold and gravity has caused the windows to sink and to sag. The lead that holds the glass together has been breaking down. And the problem is that if they aren't repaired, pieces of glass will break and fall, and ultimately the whole window would be lost. So in order to be prepared, each window has to be taken out, has to be mapped, taken apart, clean, re-leaded, and then put back together. Obviously, you can imagine this is a very labor-intensive process. And the company that assessed our windows is the best company around, and they are very busy, so it's going to take at least 6 months from the time that we sign a contract for them to come and get the first half of our windows to be prepared. Then when they are reinstalled 6 months later, the other half of the windows will be taken out and taken to their shop for the additional 6 months. About half of the windows need to be repaired soon. The other half can wait a little longer. The problem is that we have to make a deposit up front. If we only make the deposit for the first half of the windows, that's going to be about $70,000. If we want to lock in the price for all of the windows, it's going to be a $110,000 deposit. If we lock in that price, the total cost would be around $270,000. Just wrap your head around that for a second. Take a breath, wrap your head around it. If we wait, considering inflation, we assume the price tag will continue to go up and be even higher. So we do have a fraction of the money that we need scattered throughout some different accounts, but if we use all of that, it will completely deplete our building account. That is why we are bringing this before you today. We know this is very expensive, but we don't have the luxury of ignoring this indefinitely. We need to start gathering funds so that we can make a deposit and get on the glass workers' schedule. So we're asking you to be in prayer about what each of us can do to help protect the beauty of our precious sanctuary and the stunning windows, which are truly a work of art. They are an important part of our building's history. They are very meaningful for people to come and see. So we're just asking the whole congregation to consider being a part of this effort to help restore these windows. But we have the luxury today of worshiping outside, of being in God's creation, of being surrounded by the sounds of the birds and a little traffic. There's, some life going on around us, and it's just a good reminder of the world that we have been called to serve and to be a part of. So let's do what we've been called to this time and this place to do, and let's worship our loving God.
Okay, who's gonna write the first check? Everybody stand if you will. Oh Lord, my God, you have put my trust. Oh Lord, my God, in you I put my hope. Oh Lord, my God, in you I put my trust. Oh Lord, my God, in you I put my hope. Everybody sing. In you I find my strength. And in you I find my strength. In you I live and move and breathe. Well, let everything I say and do be guided by my faith in you. I lift up holy hands and let the praises ring. Oh Lord, my God, to you I give my hands. Oh Lord, my God, to you I give my feet. Oh Lord, my God, to you I give my everything. Oh Lord, my God, to you I give my life. Come on, everybody sing. In you I find my peace. In you I find my strength. In you I live and move and breathe. Well, let everything I say and do be guided by my faith in you. I lift up holy hands and let the praises ring. Turned into wine. You opened the eyes of the blind. There's no one like you. There's none like you. Into the darkness you shine. Out of the ashes we rise. There's no one like you. There's none like you. Our God is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, He's awesome in power. Our God, our God. Hey, I just want to mention, We do have some chairs over here on the rack. If anybody needs a chair, there's a few more chairs left over here. And water you turned into wine. You opened the eyes of the blind. There's no one like you. There's none like you. And our God is greater. Our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer. He's awesome in power. Our God, our God. Our God is greater. Our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer. And He's awesome in power. Our God, our God. Our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, then what could stand against? And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, then what could stand against? What could stand against? Our God is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, He's awesome in power. Our God, our God. And our God is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, He's awesome in power. Our God, our God. And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, then what can stand against? And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, then what can stand against? And what can stand against? Our God is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, He's awesome in power. Our God, our God. Oh, that's great, guys. Make it count, leave a mark, build a name for yourself. Dream your dreams, chase your heart above all else. Make a name the world remembers. But all an empty world can sell his empty dreams. I got lost in the light when it was up to me. To make a name the world remembers. Jesus is the only name to remember. And I don't want to leave a legacy. I don't care if they remember me. Only Jesus. And I've only got one life to live. I let every second point to Him. Only Jesus. All the kingdoms built, all the trophies won, crumble into dust when it's said and done. 'Cause all the greater Whoa. Jesus is the only name. Jesus is the only name. Jesus is the only name to remember. Oh, Jesus is the only name. Jesus is the only name. Jesus is the only name to remember. I don't wanna leave a legacy. I don't care if they remember me. Only Jesus. I've only got one life to live. I'll let every second point to Him. Only Jesus. I don't wanna leave a legacy. I don't care if they remember me. Only Jesus. Thank you. You may be seated.
Well, as we continue in our time of worship this morning, wanted to lift up some of our prayer concerns and our joys. Want to let you know that Misty Graham Stapleton, that's Ben Stapleton's wife, her father, Sam Graham, has been in the hospital this weekend and continues to be there today. We want to continue to remember Aaron Tharp's mother, Sylvia Kressler, along with Mo Malloy. Marilee North has been in Morristown, Hamlin with a broken arm and a broken hip, so we want to remember her. Robert Fitz has been in the hospital. Dawn Phillips had surgery this last week, but is here with us this morning, so we celebrate with her and continue to pray for her. We need to be in prayer for Kat Morlack's brother. He had a very long procedure, and they're still waiting for him to wake up from the anesthesia. Just want to celebrate that Kat Gorgas finished her radiation this week, so we celebrate with her and just give thanks to God for her healing. We, of course, want to continue to remember those around the world who are being affected by the war in Ukraine. Some celebrations that we have, of course, again, we want to lift up and celebrate the women who are surrounding us, who have mothered us in so many wonderful ways. Vigo Jacobs is being baptized this morning. He is the infant son of Lauren and Chris Jacobs, our youth director, so we celebrate with them this morning. And then we had a few students graduate yesterday from Walter State. Tanner Keck graduated, along with Jackson Neal and Ryan Sadlin. So just a great weekend of celebration, and we're excited to see what happens next for them on their journeys. So now, brothers and sisters, let us go to God in prayer. Holy and loving God, how good it is to worship you this morning. How good it is to come out of the gym, to come out of the building and to proclaim your word, to sing your word in our community today. And we pray that those who might drive by and hear even just a glimpse, and those who live around us and hear the words this morning, that they might be inspired. We give you thanks for this church that we get to come and be a part of, and all the different ministries that you have called us to. Be it bringing materials for buckets that will go to Liberia, or praying for those who are in mission work around the world that we support through this church. To those who are helping children on Hedrick Street, to our adult ministries, God, you call us to so many different ways to serve you, and we give you thanks. We're thankful for Morristown, this beautiful community that we get to be a part of and that we get to be in service with. Thank you for those who are gathered here this morning and so many others who are a part of this faith community. We lift up those that we have named aloud this morning on this prayer list, and we know that there are so many others who are in need right now, who just need a simple reminder that you are with them. We thank you for healing. We thank you for surgeries that have gone well. And we trust, oh God, that where people are still struggling, that you are present there with them. We offer ourselves to you in this time, that you would be glorified, that we would be reminded that our lives are not just about us. It's not about our legacy. It's about sharing the name of Jesus and sharing the hope and the love and the mercy and grace that he offers the world. So help us to lift up our voices, to sing loud and proud, and to receive the word that you have for us this day. We ask all of this in Jesus' name. Amen. And it is good to be a part of God's work in the world, and I'm going to ask our ushers if they would come forward at this time, that we would receive the gifts that God is calling each of us to give.
Everybody's got a story to tell, and everybody's got a wound to be healed. I wanna believe there's beauty here, 'cause I get so tired of holding on. I can't let go, can't move on. I wanna believe there's meaning here. How many times have you heard me cry out, God, please take this? How many times have you given me strength to just keep breathing? Oh, I need you, God, I need you now. Standing on a road I didn't plan, wondering how I got to where I am. I'm trying to hear that still small voice. I'm trying to hear above the noise. How many times have you heard me cry out, God, please take this? How many times have you given me strength to just keep breathing? Oh, I need you, God, I need you now. Though I walk through the shadows, and I am so afraid. Please stay right beside me. With every single step I take. How many times have you heard me cry out? How many times have you given me strength? How many times have you heard me cry out, God, please take this? How many times have you given me strength to just keep breathing? Oh, I need you, God, I need you now. I need you now. me cry out.
Would you show appreciation to our band one more time? They do such a good job, and you know, they just kind of go along with whatever craziness I ask them to do. I'm going to ask John Muller to come at this time, and he's going to read our scripture reading for us this morning out of Revelation.
Today's reading is from Revelation chapter 5. Then I saw on the right hand of him who sat on the throne a scroll with writing on both sides, sealed with 7 seals. And I saw a mighty angel proclaiming in a loud voice, "Who is worthy to break the seals and open the scroll?" But no one in heaven or on earth or under the earth could open the scroll or even look inside it. I wept and wept because no one was found who was worthy to open the scroll or look inside. Then one of the elders said to me, "Do not weep. See, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Root of David, has triumphed. He is able to open the scroll and its 7 seals." Then I saw a lamb looking as if it had been slain, standing in the center of the throne, encircled by the 4 living creatures and the elders. The Lamb had 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of God sent out into the earth. He went and took the scroll from the right hand of him who sat on the throne. And when he had taken it, the 4 living creatures and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb. Each one had a harp, and they were holding golden bowls full of incense, which are the prayers of God's people. And he sang a new song, saying, "You are worthy to take the scroll and to open its seals, because you were slain, and with your blood you purchased for God persons from every tribe and language and people and nation. You have made them to be a kingdom and the priests to serve our God, and they will reign on the earth." Then I looked and heard the voice of many angels, numbering thousands upon thousands, and 10,000 times 10,000. They circled the throne and the living creatures and the elders. In a very loud voice they were saying, "Worthy is the Lamb who was slain to receive power and wealth and wisdom and strength and honor and glory and praise." Then I heard every creature in heaven and on earth and under the earth and on the sea and all that is in them, saying, "To him who sits on the throne, to the Lamb, be praise and honor and glory and power forever and ever." And the 4 living creatures said, "Amen," and the elders fell down and worshipped. It was the word of God for the people of God.
Thanks be to God. Thank you, John. Now, friends, would you bow with me in prayer? Holy and loving God, for the reading and hearing of your word this day, we give you thanks. And for the ways in which your word edifies our lives, we give you thanks. Now, O God, may the words of my mouth and the meditation of all of our hearts together be holy and acceptable in your sight. For you are our Lord, our rock, and our Redeemer. Amen. So I did just want to say a couple more thank yous. Of course, the band and our tech team gets a great big thank you. Also want to thank Tommy Keck. I know he's not here right now, but he dropped the backside of the stage off, this trailer, early this morning. So just want to say thank you to him. And of course, if you see Sin walking around, he deserves a big thank you. He does so much work to get us put together. So last week we dove right into the book of Revelation, and we started the book remembering that we are looking for a 4-letter word that starts with H. Anybody remember what that word is? Hope. We are looking for the messages of hope in this book. This apocalyptic book is God's heavenly aerial view of what was happening to the church during the reign of the Roman Empire. In short, all seemed lost and hopeless for the Christian community at that time. Jesus was using John to remind his church that hope was still alive because Jesus is the first and the last, the beginning and the end. He has already won the victory. So we're going to kind of breeze through chapters 2 through 4 real quick. I want to make sure we're all on the same page of what's happening. And we're going to settle down a little bit in chapter 5. So in these chapters, we continue to see the vision that John is having as Jesus addresses the 7 churches of Asia Minor. You can go into your own Bible and look up the names of the churches. I'm not going to list them all. But 7 is a number of completion that represents the 7-day Sabbath cycle in creation. And this book is going to be filled with a lot of other numbers of completion and imagery from the Old Testament. John was depending on his readers, and so he's depending on us to go to the Old Testament to discern the code that he was giving them. Now, this was not code for predicting the future, per se. This code was for them to understand how God was working in the midst of their circumstances in the Roman Empire. So for us, as we read this book today, we also have to go back and we have to do a lot of extra research, right? We have to know what was going on in the time of the Roman Empire. And then we also have to go back and figure out what's going on in the Old Testament. What are the references that John is making note to? So 7 churches in Asia Minor trying to survive the most hostile environment for Christians under the rule of Nero, followed by Domitian. So if you go to chapter 2, it's going to talk about there's 7 candles. These are 7 candles that their light represent the 7 churches. Each of these churches has a sin, and at least 6 of them have something good going on. But the sins that these churches faced were that some were apathetic due to their wealth. Some of the churches had a great deal of people who were living morally compromised. They were eating the ritual meals of the Roman pagan gods and worshiping in Roman pagan temples. And yet, at the same time, there were also those who were faithful, and they were suffering harassment and violence and even death in order to stay true to the message of Jesus Christ. So this letter was communicating that things were going to get even worse. And even greater tribulation was coming, and they would have to decide if they would stay faithful or if they would compromise their faith in order to survive. Those who remained faithful would be conquerors, and their reward would be great. So chapter 4 takes us into the throne room. And there are a multitude of creatures and people worshiping God and proclaiming God's worthiness. And then in God's hand, as we enter chapter 5, there was a scroll with 7 wax seals. These seals represent the message of the prophets, and most especially the words of Daniel's vision from the Old Testament about how God's kingdom would one day be on earth as it is in heaven. Yet no one can open the scroll except for the slaughtered and resurrected Lamb. Only this Lamb, Jesus, can open the scroll, revealing God's kingdom. God's kingdom was indeed inaugurated through the crucified Messiah who died for his enemies. This Lamb, this Jesus crucified, was crucified for his enemies so that even they could be redeemed. So what was meant for the Lamb's defeat actually became his enthronement. And then we land on our passage for this morning. So we're going to slow down here in Revelation 5 and savor this scene. In this moment of the narrative, John is inviting us to slow down. The vision John has for us is not about triumph and victory like a mighty lion. Instead, this moment, these verses are about revering the Lamb, the one who sits upon the throne, the Lamb that was slain. So in this part of the letter, John places his audience in a narrative world that rejects the imperial world around them, creating what we would call a worshiping world, where God alone is worthy to be given honor and praise and worship. So this world of worship is a place outside of what we can know and understand, and it deserves a divine perspective from all the participants. So I admit, I have a lot of thoughts and feelings about what I believe heaven is going to be like. I'm sure you've thought about it a time or two as well. And let me just describe to you my little corner of heaven if I got to have it my way. There would be lush green mountains on one side, and then beautiful golden orange mountains like in the fall on the other side. And I'm just going to have my own little valley somewhere right there in the middle. I'll have Brian with me, of course, and I'm sure that when he looks out of our kitchen window, instead of mountains, there will be an ocean view because he loves the ocean. And our families, well, they're not going to live right there with us. You know, you need a little space from the in-laws, right? But they're going to be close enough that they can stop by. And our dearest friends will be close enough too that they can come over for some game nights. But most importantly, our dogs are going to be there. Most importantly, all of the dogs that we have ever had will be in our home in heaven. And I believe that my sweet dogs who have already passed away are already there, and that my daddy is taking care of them until I can get there. I don't believe in that whole rainbow bridge thing. That doesn't exist in my world. They're already where they're supposed to be. But I digress. But do you have your image of what heaven would be like? For some of my friends, and maybe this is true for you, their little corner of heaven is just filled with all of the books they've ever loved and that they want to read again. Or perhaps in your version of heaven, you get to eat ice cream every day, all day, and there are no consequences. I think I'd like to add that to my little nook as well, by the way. But I read that something much deeper is going on here in the version that John gives us, something deeper and more beautiful. This is the vision of a world that is turned upside down. This is the vision of a weird and strange other realm that doesn't make sense to us just yet. We need to go back to the image of the lamb, the slaughtered lamb, the lamb that is in our world not worthy to be praised, and yet in this world is worthy of praise. Because this lamb is also a lion. The lamb that is being praised will defeat the beast, the Antichrist, everything that stands against the loving and holy reign of God in the world. That is the Antichrist. The Lamb is going to defeat the powers of Rome, and the songs of the gathered worshipers in heaven are already singing the songs of victory. But who sends a lamb to fight a beast? God does. God sends the lamb because the lamb in his death and resurrection has already defeated the beast. All creation is singing in the song of praise and victory. So again, I believe that our pets are going to be there. They're going to be there to sing the songs of praises with us. These are the songs of victory that we have in our scripture this morning. I love music. It's been a big part of my life since I was a teeny tiny tot. When I was about 5 or 6 years old, I told my mama and my daddy that I wanted to be Reba McEntire when I grew up. My other aspiration at that time was also to work at Pizza Hut. I guess everyone needs a backup plan, but here we are. I sang in a couple of children's choirs growing up, choirs in high school and at church. I sang in the concert choir and oratorio choir at Emory and Henry College. I was also in our student praise band at Emory and Henry. Sometimes, if I'm being honest, it's the music of a movie that is most influential to me, even more than the story of the movie. There's nothing better to me than a good Hans Zimmer or John Williams score playing underneath a film. But music is in the DNA of our faith. Music has been a part of God's movement in the world since the beginning. In the Old Testament, there's the victory song that Miriam sings in the Exodus story. Hannah sings her song of praise to God when she learns of her pregnancy with Samuel. The prophets sang songs of praise to God when God acted in the world. Paul uses excerpts from hymns in his letter to the churches. And in Revelation alone, anybody know how many songs are in Revelation? 27. 27 hymns in Revelation alone. The church has been singing hymns and worship as acts of defiance for centuries as well. You can also go back to the time of slavery in the early Americas. Some of the most beautiful and powerful spirituals came out of the struggles of the African people. And these songs were also songs that were used to lead the people to freedom through the Underground Railroad. These songs were then again used during the Civil Rights Movement to inspire those seeking justice for those who had been oppressed. Music was a vital part of the beginnings of the Methodist movement. Charles Wesley wrote thousands of hymns, and he used old bar songs for the tunes so that people could easily learn the lyrics and then learn the theology of the Methodist movement. Music was heavily used in the Methodist camp meetings in the 1800s to bring people to faith in Jesus Christ. So is it any wonder that God would use hymns to reveal the words of hope, the messages of hope in Revelation? This song in chapter 5, it is a victory song. It is our triumph song. It reminds us that in Jesus we have already won. You have already won. Whatever your battle is today, it has already been won for you in Jesus. This vision so far shows that everything is singing about the glory of the Lamb. Everything and everyone acknowledges that the Lamb who was slain has defeated the beast. Game, set, match. So what this reminds me of is that what we do here on Sundays from around 10:30 to 11:30, it matters. Your voice matters. Today we are reminded that the victory needs to be sung, and we are called to be the singers. Now, you may not be able to carry a tune in a bucket. It might be that the only place you feel safe to sing is in the shower. But God doesn't care. God wants you to join in the song of victory. And we are to carry that song of victory to John Doe down the street who has been addicted to opioids for years and doesn't have a single word of hope. We are to carry that song of victory to Jane Doe, your neighbor who lost her job and her hope with it, and let her know that we don't know what it's going to look like, but that she can trust in God, and because God has already won for her. We carry this victory to children living in poverty, and we don't ever let them think that there is no hope, because God will use us to bring hope to them. So here today we sing, and we carry the song of victory to the broken places and the broken people that God calls us to, and we sing. Now, singing for you might look a little bit different for me. Maybe singing for you means that you're going to use construction tools. Or maybe singing for you means that you're going to make donations of food to an organization. Maybe singing for you means that you're going to drive the bus ministry and help bring people to church on Sunday mornings. Maybe singing for you is just sharing a simple word of love and hope to someone who's in need. However it is that God might use you to sing, we are being called to sing, "Worthy is the Lamb that was slain to receive power, wealth, wisdom, and might, and honor, and glory, and blessing." Blessing, honor, glory, and power belong to the one seated on the throne and to the Lamb forever and ever. So we're going to stand and we're going to sing our closing song. And it's a song of hope about a God who stays. It's a song that the world needs to hear. It's one of our many victory songs. So I want to invite you to stand as you're able, and let us sing this song of victory, this song of triumph, this song of hope, in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
If I were you, I would have given up on me by now. I would have labeled me a lost cause, 'cause I feel just like a lost cause. And if I were you, I would have turned around and walked away. I would have labeled me beyond repair, 'cause I feel like I'm beyond repair. But somehow you don't see me like I do. Somehow you're still here. You're the God who stays. You're the God who stays. You're the one who runs in my direction when the whole world walks away. You're the God who stands with wide open arms, and you tell me nothing I have ever done could separate my heart from the God who stays. You know I used to hide every time I thought I let you down. I always thought I had to earn my way, but I'm learning you don't work that way. 'Cause somehow you don't see me like I do. Somehow you're still here. You're the God who stays. You're the God who stays. You're the one who runs in my direction when the whole world walks away. You're the God who stands with wide open arms, and you tell me nothing I have ever done could separate my heart from the God who stays. And my shame can't separate, my guilt can't separate, my past can't separate. I'm yours forever. My sin can't separate, my scars can't separate, my failures can't separate. I'm yours forever. The enemy can separate, no power of hell can take away your love for me. You'll never change. I'm yours forever. You're the God who stays. You're the God who stays. You're the one who runs in my direction when the whole world walks away. You're the God who stands with wide open arms, and you tell me nothing I have ever done could separate my heart from the God who stays. You're the God who stays. You're the one who runs in my direction when the whole world walks away. You're the God who stands with wide open arms, and you tell me nothing I have ever done can separate my heart from the God who stays. And somehow you don't see me like I do. Somehow you're still here.
Did you hear those words, church? Nothing can separate us because the victory has already been won for us and for the world. Thanks be to God. And so as we go from this place, may we remember that hope, that God is a God who stays with us, who is always there for us, and that nothing can separate us from Him. We belong to God forever. Your homework assignment, you get a week. Actually, Chris is going to preach next Sunday. I'm out of town for a wedding. So you have 2 whole weeks to read through chapter 7. It's just 2 chapters you're reading. So chapter 6 and chapter